This is Dan Sousa with Viva Loudoun Live. Running a little bit late tonight, trying to get some things organized here at the world headquarters of Viva Loudoun. You're on DMVSTREAM.COM. Some interesting news today with what's been going on in Loudoun. We also have our top 5 for all the sports to unveil tonight, and I think it'll be interesting to see all the changes that are going on in the different sports, so baseball and softball. All the different sports, lacrosse, tennis, we're going to be unveiling them. So if you follow us on Twitter, if you want to ask any questions, you can go to Twitter right now, and we will give you. I'm going to put a note right here on Twitter right now. Let people know that we're on DMVSTREAM.COM, and we want to thank the folks at DMV Stream. They broadcast pro, amateur, college, high school, AAU, and youth games in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, live to televisions, computers, and mobile devices like iPads, iPhones, Androids, and more. And so it's DMVStream.com. They're hosting us. You can find out more. There'll be games of the week. They did I was able to watch the Stonebridge versus Robinson boys lacrosse the other night, and it was pretty exciting. And that was kind of cool to be able to watch it for free from my desktop here. Stay nice and dry, nice and warm. And you can also purchase copies of different broadcasts if you want. So if you enjoyed that lacrosse game the other night, you can get a copy of it. If you want to purchase a copy of tonight's broadcast, Viva Loudoun Live with Dan Sousa, that is me. Why? No. So let's start with basically the news that we had going on today, over the weekend in Loudoun, and that would be we like to keep it light, and we like to be, as humorous as we can. That's sort of how I like to roll, but we have serious things that happen here too. And over the weekend, an athlete at Parkview High School, his name was Caleb Gordley, passed away. A incident that happened over in his neighborhood late at night, Saturday late or early into Sunday morning. He went into the wrong house. Turns out to be just 2 houses down from where he lived, and he was shot by the homeowner there at the house, who's been alerted by his alarm having gone off. So it's a case where the sheriff's department, obviously the homeowner is thinking maybe there's some sort of intruder in his house. It's 2:30 in the morning. It's dark. It's a very, tragic situation all the way around, and everybody wants to talk about it. We've got people giving us a lot of comments on Viva Loudoun. One thing we try to do is we try to moderate our comments on Viva Loudoun, and so we tend to have people that want to jump to conclusions. Maybe they don't have all the facts, and a lot of times too, people want to blame right away. I know in a tragedy like this, people want to, they want to sit there and they want to assign blame right away. But in this case, we don't know all the facts, but it's shaping up to be some sort of just very tragic mistaken identity, where, and it sounds like maybe that there was alcohol involved, but where the kid did come into the wrong house by accident, the homeowner thinking this was an intruder and not a neighbor who was lost, and he lost his life. And it's to me, it's just a sad thing. As someone who's a parent, I have a 21-year-old, I have a 13-year-old, so I've been through the teenage years with my older son. And I know some people are saying, oh, well, 2:30 in the morning, wow, the kid's out late, But I'm telling you what, I've had a 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old before Saturday night. They are out late sometimes. Sometimes you think they're someplace else and they're not there, or they're at a friend's house. So I think we're kidding ourselves if we think that all our 17 or 18 or 16-year-olds are home, in bed by 11 o'clock. I think one of the issues, I was talking with my wife today here at home, and she was talking about, depending on how much alcohol played a factor into this, it is something, it's a problem that we have in our society with teenagers and even, non-teenagers. But things can happen, and whether it's drinking and driving, or if someone drinks too much and they get alcohol poisoning, someone drinks and they get in a situation where they could be taken advantage of or hurt somebody. These are things that happen. So my condolences, my prayers and thoughts go out to the family involved on both sides. The homeowner side of the family, where someone's life has been taken. That's a heavy weight upon them. From the Caleb's family, losing a child, there's nothing worse to his friends. I know at Parkview it was a very tough day for him. He played football and he played basketball and played baseball over at Parkview. Was able to communicate with Mike Kaczynski, the basketball coach, and so let's leave what Mike had to say. He said, and this is from Mike and Jermaine Walker, both from Parkview Boys Basketball. We are very saddened to lose our friend, teammate, and student athlete Caleb Gordley. Caleb played 3 years in the basketball program in addition to playing baseball and football at Parkview High School. Everyone loved being around Caleb and felt better when around him. He was a source of positivity, energy, and hype for our team. Whether we won or lost, Caleb always gave his best effort and was a teammate everyone loved being around. Caleb's love for music and rapping was a gift that he shared quite often with his family and friends. His music came from his heart and was his passion. That passion carried over to all his sports, as he could be counted on to play with heart, emotion, and hustle at all times. Caleb played in 8 games this season and suffered a season-ending knee injury as he was making a full court play to block a shot. Caleb was adjusting to his role as a contributor off the bench, and at the time of his injury was playing his best basketball. Caleb kept the team laughing regardless of the situation, and everything was more fun with Caleb around. He will be deeply missed. So, and then we see Caleb, the different sports, baseball up top, and basketball, football. So that was the news that was happening today, and obviously we had some snow today. So the other news was snow outs, 34. I think there was one event. Tuscarora girls lacrosse was able to get a victory tonight at George Mason on the turf, but everything else was wiped out. So we have to go back to, we did have a first week of sports last week, spring sports. Got off to a start, and we need to go ahead and unveil then our top 5 for each of the sports, depending on what happened. So let's start over at baseball, and I'll give you a clue here that we've got a lot of new number 1s and a lot of things we're shaking up. So let's start with baseball, and we're going to work on these graphics. We've been saving them over from Publisher as JPEGs, and we need to find out a better way to do this. But as you can see, if you can read through the sketchiness here, we do have a new number 1 this week. We have Freedom High School moves to number 1 on the Loco top 5 for baseball. 2-0 on the week. Freedom 8-0 win over Garfield, and then a 7-2 victory over Potomac Falls, who was ranked number 4 at the time. So good start to Freedom. Stonebridge, no fault of their own. They slide to number 2. Now we had a lot of changes early in the season here with these rankings because, quite frankly, when we're ranking the preseason rankings, we're just kind of going off of maybe how teams finished last year. Who do we think they have coming back? Who they don't have coming back? A lot of it's up in the air. So there can be volatile changes here in the beginning weeks. I know last week a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, how can you rank our team number 2 and not number 1? I mean, little changes like that. But things will change, and they'll change pretty rapidly in these first couple of weeks as everything sorts out. So Stonebridge at number 2. They haven't played yet. Loudoun Valley, number 3. Vikings opened up a 14-0 win over Parkview, and then they edged Loudoun County 4-2. So they're 2-0 in the season. Woodgrove moves up a spot. They open with a 6-0 win over Briarwoods on Friday. Nice shutout. So they're number 4. And breaking into the top 5 is Heritage this week. Heritage 16-0 over Parkview, an 11-4 victory over Tuscarora. Heritage has a couple of players who are college bound. And on the outside looking in, but worthy of mention here, we have Potomac Falls at 1-1. That only loss was to Freedom, which is our number 1 right now. And then Loudoun County, which is 1-1. They opened with a 10-0 win over Millbrook. And then they had that loss to Loudoun Valley. So that is our baseball top 5. As always, you can go on Facebook, Viva Loudoun. That's the Facebook.com/VivaLoudoun. You can let us know how you think we're doing on these top fives, you can go on to Twitter, and we will sit there and we'll talk with you and figure out what's going on with Twitter, and whether you think our top fives are right or not. And I know some people were disagreeing with our softball top five last week. Let's see if we made any changes this week. Well, number one is Stonebridge still, 2-0. They opened up in the Battle of the Ashburn, Battle of the Burn, beat Broad Run 14-1. They beat Briar Woods 3-0. So we kept them at number one. And moving up in Loudoun County, 2-0, 10-0 win over Millbrook and a 10-1 win over Loudoun Valley. And the reason that we're going to talk a lot about Loudoun County this year is because of Kylie Jacobus, their pitcher. And she, right now, we have everyone talking about who's the best pitcher in the area, and everyone's talking about Kylie Jacobus. And so, to about 2/3 of the way of our show here, what we want to pick this week is we're going to pick a team of the week for the first week. And we'll do this every week, and then we're going to pick a player of the week. And right now, let's say, we went on Facebook earlier tonight, and we asked who you think our player of the week should be. And Sandy Shiflett said Kylie Jacobus. Great. Caroline Clemens said Kylie Jacobus. She's a pitcher for Loudoun County. Okay. Rita Rhodes said Kylie Jacobus. Karen Beamer said Kylie Jacobus. Janet Colby said Kylie Jacobus. You kind of get the point, right? Casey Nicholas, Lisa Hine, Connie Hedgepath, Beth Smallwood, Christine French, Stacy Scanner, D. Jacobus, of course, and Jake Jacobus. So the votes have been heard, and we agree that we are making Kylie Jacobus pitcher for Loudoun County, the number 2 ranked team in the local top 5. We are going to make her our player of the week. So congratulations. What we're going to do is send a T-shirt out to her, so she gets a Viva Loudoun T-shirt. We should say that the Viva Loudoun T-shirts are produced by Cheers Sporting Goods. We want to thank the folks over at Cheers, who are a big sponsor of our site. So Kylie's going to be owner of that. Coming in at number 3 is Broad Run. And they opened with that Battle of Ashburn, and they were able to edge Briar Woods. Now they had a big lead on Briar Woods. That ended up 7-6, with Briar Woods scoring 4 of those 6 runs in the bottom of the 7th and having the game-tying runner thrown at the plate. So exciting stuff over at Stonebridge on Saturday. So we're moving Broad Run with the split between Stonebridge and Briar Woods down to number 3. Woodgrove opened the year with a 8-6 loss to Musselman, West Virginia squad, and then beat Briar Woods in a key Dulles District match on Friday, 5-1. So Woodgrove, the defending state AA champion, is in at number 4. And Tuscarora breaks into our top 5. 3-0 record for Tuscarora, so congratulations. They went 12-2 over James Wood, 14-2 over Heritage, 25-0 over Champ. So nice week for Tuscarora. So that's our top 5 in softball. Let's take a look at boys soccer. Boys soccer, we had another change. We're moving Briar Woods up to the number. Boys soccer is a real toss-up right now. I'm going to tell you right now, even though you're going to read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the bubble with 3 teams. Really, between these 8 teams, we could start tossing a coin and go back and forth, because at this point it is very, very close. Briar Woods won 0-0, but that's an overtime victory against Millbrook. They went in 0-0 against Millbrook. We were able to score in overtime. That shows some fortitude. They'd opened the year at number 2. We moved them up to number 1. Tuscarora, defending state champion, moves down to number 2. They tied Loudoun County, who started the season out at 3 and then moves up to that number 3 slot. So we got Tuscarora and Loudoun County right next to each other. They had an exciting 3-3 tie in overtime. Heritage breaks into the top 5. They haven't played yet, so they're kind of a wild card. I'm hearing good things about them. So let's put them in there at number 4 and see how they do. And then Stonebridge. We're going to break Stonebridge into the top 5. They beat West Springfield, which is usually a strong AAA squad. Stonebridge is in AAA in the Liberty District. So we're going to put Stonebridge there. And that puts Broad Run on the bubble. Broad Run probably not going to be happy about being on the bubble. They had a big win over Woodgrove start the season, but then they had a 0-0 tie with Parkview, so we've got Parkview on the bubble as well. And Dominion, I know a lot of the Dominion soccer players are asking me, am I ready for Dominion soccer? I'm not sure, so we're going to see what happens. We got Dominion, we're going to keep an eye on them. Girls soccer. Girls soccer is probably had the most back and forth last week about, number one, number two. We had Woodgrove start this season out number one, and Stonebridge started out number two. Truth be told, when you're looking at the difference between 1 and 2 to start the season, it was razor thin. As a matter of fact, as everyone pointed out to me, oh my gosh, these teams scrimmaged in the preseason. Stonebridge won 4-3. We don't tend to put a lot of stock into scrimmages. A 4-3 result is pretty close. It's a lot of scoring in a scrimmage. You never know what coaches are working on. I think you also have a factor there with the Woodgrove players. A lot of them, having come from the basketball team, went all the way into just that Saturday before that scrimmage. I think came like the following Friday or maybe the next Saturday. It was less than a week off total for the girls. But we are moving up Stonebridge, and not based upon scrimmage results. We're going to base this upon regular season results, and that puts Stonebridge at number one because of a very strong 4-1 win over West Springfield. And Stonebridge showing they've got the firepower. They are going to score some goals this year with Ashley Herndon and Mario Taranen. Probably the best scoring combo in the state of Virginia. So 4-1 win over West Springfield. It moves them up to number one. Woodgrove had 2 wins this week. 3-2 win over Millbrook, an opening. And I know, talking with one of their players, they said, well, they gave up a PK, so it really wasn't that close, 3-1. But at the same time, Briar Woods, a team that we had ranked lower, also beat Millbrook 3-1. So that kind of tells me something. They did bounce back and had a nice 5-0 win over Fauquier. So again, we've kind of got 1A and 1B. We've got Stonebridge and Woodgrove. They're right there, and you could expect them to flip back and forth as the season goes on, depending on how they do. Freedom opens with 7-0 win over Garfield and 2-0 win over Kettle Run. So Freedom is a strong number 3. Briar Woods had that 3-1 win, as I mentioned, over Millbrook. They're at number 4. And Dominion. I put them in here. They're sort of a wild card. 2-0 over George Mason. That's a single A program, but they usually make it to the state finals. 4-0 over Brentsville. And Brentsville has been a playoff team in the past in Double A. So a strong opening for Dominion. And we're going to move them in at number 5. Honestly, you could make an argument for Broad Run, who's on the bubble there, to be number 4, to be number 5, even to be number 3. I mean, they're 0-1-1. They lost 4-3 to Forest Park, which is a great AAA program. They tied Robinson, another big-time program. So, that 0-1-1 is just sort of putting them there on the bubble for now. You can expect the Spartans will be right back up in the top 5. But at this point in the season, when we've got teams like Dominion who have opened up 2-0, Briarwoods that opens up with like a 1-0, we want to go ahead and reward those teams, get those teams up in the top 5. They've done what they had to do, and we'll see what happens here with Broad Run. Obviously, that's a talented team. Loudoun County at 1-0-1, talented team. They're always a contender in Double A. Tuscarora tied Loudoun County, so we know they're talented. Loudoun Valley is 1-0. Parkview girls have opened 2-0, and Heritage hasn't played yet. So it's really wide open in the girls' soccer. Both the boys and girls' soccer is very wide open this year. So let's go on over to lacrosse. Would you believe? We have another new number 1 in boys lacrosse. We have moved Stonebridge up to number 1 at 1-1 on the season. Why do we move them up? Well, they beat Briar Woods 15-2 to open the year. Briar Woods is down a little bit, but as we see in a second, they're not down that much. They then took Robinson into overtime in an exciting game. Robinson, big-time AAA program, 9-10 that Stonebridge lost. We moved them up. Again, this is a 1A and 1B sort of situation. Dominion, which was number 1, has moved down to number 2. Dominion is 1-2 on the season. They beat Westfield 5-4. They lost to 4-time defending state champion Langley by just 1 goal, 7-6. and then they lost to Woodson by 2 goals, 8-6. So I mean, Dominion, that is a great schedule. So first of all, the Titans, I mean, that's a great job in scheduling very tough games. Woodgrove, no fault of their own, has moved down to number 3, 0-0. They haven't played yet. Loudoun Valley, 0-0, is yet to play. We are moving Loudoun County into the top 5 at 2-0. Loudoun County is open very strong. 14-1 win over Tuscarora, 18-5 over Heritage. Those are very nice wins over Dulles District foes. Those weren't Dulles District games. It'll be the second time they've played at the account. We are dropping Briar Woods down, as you see, under the bubble with Potomac Falls and Freedom. Now, Briar Woods, keep in mind here, yes, they lost 15-2 to Stonebridge, but they also only lost by 1 goal to West Springfield, 10-9. They beat West Springfield 7-3. They only lost to Westfield by 1 goal, 10-9. Now let's go back to Dominion again. Dominion beat Westfield by a goal. Briar Woods lost Westfield by a goal. That puts Briar Woods at this point just about 2 goals behind Dominion. Yet, Stonebridge was able to beat Briar Woods by 13 goals, and thus we give Stonebridge the nod at number 1, Dominion at number 2. Freedom has opened with the win over Tuscarora. They are on the bubble at 1-0. Potomac Falls opened with the win over Heritage. They are also on the bubble. Girls lacrosse. We have another new number 1. Stonebridge girls jump to the top. 17-2 win over Briar Woods and a 15-10 win over Robinson. So we move Woodgrove down to number 2. No fault of their own, 0-0. We just haven't seen them play yet. But the way Stonebridge played, especially a 5-goal win over Robinson, we give them the nod in at number 1. Loudoun County has been playing very well. They move up to number 3. They had a 4-goal win over Tuscarora, and then they beat Heritage by 17 goals. Broad Run, number 4. Now, Broad Run, there's another one that, because Loudoun County had the 2 wins, because Woodgrove hasn't played yet, it was hard for us to keep Broad Run above those 2 teams at 1-1, but Broad Run beat Chantilly in 2 overtimes, 14-13, and Chantilly is always an excellent girls lacrosse program. Then they lost to Herndon by 1 goal. So at 1-1, we're going to keep them at number 4. We keep an eye on Broad Run. Loudoun Valley, big win over Fauquier to open the season. They are in at number 5. They have broken into the Loco top 5. Congratulations to Loudoun Valley. And we're going to put Tuscarora and Freedom at 1-1 out there on the bubble. Yes. We named Kylie Jacobus as our player of the week, and we're going to name the Stonebridge girls tennis team as our team of the week. it's something that we can. I think it's fun because we're ranking the AA and the AAA schools, and it's always tough to put the two of them that are both in the same area. We had some other news this week, and as we wrap up our show here in a couple minutes, I thought I'd touch about this because this is going to be important with the face of sports to come, especially in the that area that runs in the middle part of the county. If you want to call, if we say Leesburg's not the middle part, but when we talk about Ashburn, starting up at Lansdowne and working your way down through Ashburn Farm, Ashburn Village, down through Broadlands, Brambleton. But the Ashburn and Dulles North area secondary schools proposed boundaries have been released. There's going to be 2 new high schools that are opening up. So if you haven't seen this, it's very interesting. We've got down by Stonehill Middle School, which is fairly close to Briar Woods High School. There's going to be a brand new high school that will open in 2014. So that's a year from this fall. And then in a year and a half, which is in 2015, we're going to have or in 2.5 years, we're going to have a school that's going to open in Lansdowne. So there's going to be 2 new high schools, 2014 unnamed high school by Stonehill Middle School, and then 2015 unnamed high school in Lansdowne. They're still projecting, even with these schools opening, the school district has said that by 2017, you can expect to see as many as anywhere between 1,500 and 2,000 students in all of the high schools in that area. So the new Lansdowne High School, which I believe is going to be projected as one of the highest enrollments. Stonebridge is still going to be up over 1,600 students. Broad Run will be up over 1,500 students. Briar Woods will still be up over 1,600 students. All the way down to the new high school. You've got John Champ and Aldi. You've got Freedom High School. So follow VivaLoudoun.com. On the internet, we will try to keep up with what's going on with the boundary issues such as that, because that's important too, because it's going to affect the sports and how things are going in that. Obviously, we have a lot of photo galleries going up. I'm going to give a shout out to my photographers, Stephen Holland, Tom Lighton are 2 of the guys. Scott Shepard's another guy's been putting up photos. Gary Sousa puts up photos sometimes. And if you go on to our website, click the photo button up top on our homepage, you'll see we've got some JV baseball up right now. We got some JV boys soccer. Jeff Minetti is taking some photos of JV boys soccer. And then we've got a lot of lacrosse coming up. We also have 2 video interns this year. And so I think it's great that we've got video capability. Tyler Bailey shot a video of the Stonebridge Briar Woods lacrosse, and that was great. And we put that up on the website. It's just got a lot of a lot of great stuff in there. Josh Holton, another of our video interns, did the highlights of the Loudoun County Tuscarora boys soccer, the 3-3 opener. So you can go on our website, look for the boys soccer video highlight, look for that lacrosse great video highlight. So that's kind of fun stuff. So we try to cover all the varsity sports for you, and we also try to cover all the news for you. If there's different items that are going on also with the school district, whether it's band or orchestra. I know we've got a couple of things coming up right now. Look for, and probably by tomorrow morning, we're going to talk about things going on, I think, at Briar Woods and Broad Run as far as musical productions. We'd like to give a shout out to those. And last week, let's end it with this. How about Luke Thornburg? He's a 7th grader. He's homeschooled, and he won the 31st annual Loudoun County Regional Spelling Bee. So 2 years in a row for Luke. And oddly enough, it was the 194th word that he won it on. And last year he won it on the 194th word. The winning word this year was debenture, defined as a document that either creates a debt or acknowledges it, and it is a debt without collateral. And I probably mispronounced it, but then again, I'm not a spelling bee champion. And for the record, we should tell you that the runner-up was Lilia Petrosian, a 6th grader from Belmont Ridge Middle School, where my son goes to middle school. So let's have a big shout out for Belmont Ridge Middle School. So congratulations to everybody that participated in that. You've been watching Viva Loudoun Live with Dan Sousa. We're going to be here on Monday nights at 9 o'clock. We'll work on those graphics for you, and we're going to have more photos that we'll put up as we get the photo galleries going, and we will see you next week. Thanks.